movie. Okay, John, you can
So,
starting, and then I'm going to do a brief introduction after he's done, and then we'll get the ball rolling fully. So, John, you're on the air, John. Why don't you start?
well, it was actually, I thought it was a really good movie, and I thought it was very entertaining. I don't think you're going to get um, a deeper insight in the family beyond what you would find out by watching like an MTV or behind the scenes type of insight. But most of what they covered, they really, I thought, nailed it pretty well about the the conflict that Michael Jackson had growing up in this family where the father, Joseph, controlled everything about the family. When to get up and how to rehearse, and if they didn't rehearse, he'd beat them. And so, which is tough love, and but it was also part of their success. He had a very strong hand on them, and the problem came as the group, as these young boys became men. How can you control them? And up until their 20s, Joseph had bought a big compound in Encino, and is like a mega mansion. So they all had their rooms, and so here they're traveling the world. They have a lot of money, a lot of power and fame, and yet their dad is controlling what they say and where they go and perform, what music they're going to work on. So Michael, being the star of the band, began to explore his own ideas into his mid-20s, wanting to do his own album, his own tours, and that kind of thing. And here he's got the family control of Joseph representing everything that they would do. So eventually, Michael ventured out through a couple people and decided to get his own agent, his own legal team, his own PR team. And it was interesting because basically he didn't have the nerve to fire his dad. So one of the first job he gave his agent was like, "You have to fire my father." And he said, "Okay, I'll take care of that." And so they sent him a fax. Just very simple. You're Joseph Jackson. Basically, you've been terminated from representing Michael Jackson. And that thing kind of held throughout the movie. They didn't have Janet at all, hardly. I think maybe just visually, but as far as actual words or actions by her, which would have been significant because Michael was the youngest of the boys, and then he would hung out with LaToya and Janet a lot. So I don't know if she didn't sign off on it or didn't want to be a part of the project. Jackson. And so and the brothers were co-producers on it. So it's a family project, and pretty much everything in there is from the people that lived it, experienced it, and were there for all these events and these conversations. So I think it was pretty accurate. And the problem you have with the movie like that is they played a lot of songs in fullness. They had Jafar Jackson, who was Jermaine Jackson's son. So basically, Michael was his uncle. So you figure Michael was 50% Catherine and Joseph, their DNA. And of course, Jafar would be 25% of Joseph and Catherine DNA. So he's got half of that Michael Jackson DNA running through him, and he was very phenomenal. In a couple of them, one sequence they did Billie Jean. They reenacted his live performance at the Motown anniversary, and I literally, I'm a Michael Jackson fan. As far as his music, I love his stuff, and I thought they were using the actual footage in the beginning, and I realized they recreated it, and it looked brilliant. And same thing with Thriller. The problem is in doing 20 to 30 of his songs almost completely. That's over an hour of the movie is just the video, so it's very hard for them to delve into the behind the scenes and the family life. That was kept at a more minimum, but it was pretty accurate, I would say.
They did not. I bet. Did they cover the marriage to Lisa Presley? And did they cover the controversy with that accusation of child molestation?
Well, what's interesting, they did it very smart, and I think the Jacksons, they, I think in the void of Michael, they need money. Like they're used to having big money, and without Michael, the machine just doesn't go. And so they basically the movie is, I would call it maybe part one of either a sequel or a trilogy. And so it goes from his birth up until 1988 at the height of the Jackson 5, where he breaks off and they finish their victory tour. So it's left wide open for them to continue on. And it was interesting because I knew a lot of the backstory, and a friend treated me to go see it. And so some of the stuff he didn't know because he's a 23-year-old kid. And I was telling him, like, one of the biggest scenes is the Jacksons are doing the victory tour, and they ended up in Los Angeles, and this is actually true. And they're performing, and Joseph's there, the family's there, everyone's there. It's big old the finale of the tour, and Joseph was planning to book them in London and Paris and Europe, all over the world, to have this machine going on and on. And Michael, in the last song of the set, he stops. He has them lower the music while it's going. He said, "I just want to announce to everyone, this is our last tour. This is the farewell tour. We're not going to be playing anymore together. This is it." Stage again. He couldn't go to his dad or to anyone publicly. He had to. Personally, he had to use a microphone or use an agent, and kind of do it in a backhand way, because again, you can imagine he was raised that way, and so it was very traumatic for him to try and step out of that box.
So I want to say something now, and then I'll have all the other hosts talk about other stuff. That was a good summary. The thing is when we look at Michael Jackson, who died, Prince, who died, Whitney Houston, who died, they were all three major heavy hitters in that same era. And as Don would say, Black people are more talented, stronger, and faster. But he, out of all those three, I don't know. There's so many devout Prince fans too, but I think Michael Jackson made a bigger impact around the world than any of those other artists. And he's still making impact. I haven't gone to the movie yet because I haven't had time, but one reason I would not go is because I would think that I would cry. And
you probably would. You probably would, but I think you would have more joy in the message of it. It was really good. It shows him breaking free. It shows the conflict that he had with. Because you imagine living with your dad, right? And at the house, and you go to your room, and you build your own studio at the other end of the place. You've got animals, like you got chimpanzee, you got snakes, you brought a llama in there, all kinds of wild animals at their place, and this is like his escape world. He wants to go to Neverland. He wants to build that kind of thing. His whole escape was in fantasy, watching cartoons and Charlie Chaplin and various things with his mom and his sisters. And here the brothers are like, that's Michael. That's his escape world. And so do you imagine you're recording, like your hits, like in your own room or your own little studio, and sneaking it out and having people produce it while you've got your father, booking you to go and travel and representing you. Like he's telling them, like, we're going to do the victory tour. He's already signed it up with Don King, who's going to exploit them. And it wasn't a good deal for them, as with Pepsi. And later on, they had an alternate offer, but it was too late. They'd already signed everything over to Pepsi, and MTV would not play Michael Jackson music. And his agent said, basically, if you don't play it, we're going to pull all our artists, because at the time his agent represented country acts like Willie Nelson and a lot of the mainstream Bruce Springsteen, a lot of the white acts. Up until the early '80s, MTV only played white artists. If you were a black artist, they sent it to BET and other soul stations to play the music. So Michael crossed it over. He was like the Jackie Robinson of pop music when it came to MTV.
That's good to know. And I would like Suzette, Bianchi, or Don to comment. I have other topics tonight, but first comment on the movie or how this plays out in society, and was it a good time for it to be released? He died June 25th, I believe it was in 2009. I lived a mile from his parents' house, and I dropped off a poem there, and they took it inside, and I was right there right when he died. I bought a shirt right outside the mansion, and Ernest and I actually did a show about it, and we interviewed people live in front of the mansion. So would anyone else like to talk about this, or if it interests you, or if it made an impact?
Well, I just wanted to mention hello, everyone. I saw Michael Jackson 5 times, and at the end of his career, he was lip syncing everything, and it was kind of horrible. But I saw him as a kid with the Jackson 5 when they first came out, and they were incredible. So it shows you what happens when you have you spend your entire life doing something. It's the Michael Jackson. It could be the Prince. It could be the Tiger Woods. All these people commit their entire lives to their craft, and then when they finally think about what they're doing and want to live a little, they go completely overboard and to the point where they can die. So I just wish I can't wish the Jackson family any good luck because they're self-destructive, and that's
he was planning a world tour.
That I wonder where the proceeds are going, because they're probably going into the producers and the directors' arms much more than they would anybody else but the nephew. But
the family, some of the family was the producers and the directors. There was connections with the family in the producing part. So who cares about the money, really? He was planning a world tour when he died. So I don't feel like he wasn't burnt out like Elvis.
I don't know, with all those surgeries that he had, on his face.
Yeah, he did have self-alienation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he wanted to change his identity away from his father, or because he was a beautiful child, he was a beautiful teenager. He really didn't need any of that.
He had a fascination with Diana Ross. I mean, he bleached his skin.
He was loving the little boys and girls. He knew that he had a problem.
The dog's gonna get you, Don, for saying that.
What did I?
Sick him, get Don.
Would you hang a 3-year-old baby over a balcony?
Well, that was probably an error in judgment, but I don't really want to get into the pedophile stuff because I don't think he did it.
No, he did it. It was on film. That was before AI.
He was excited about showing his child.
The problem with Michael is he was starved for attention and acceptance in that world. So publicity, like for him, that's the same like hanging the kid over the there or jumping off the stage or anything like that is like that is the fulfillment of his whole life is entertainment and showbiz. So for him, it blurs a line like, oh, my face is like a stage. I'm just going to alter it. I don't want to look like my father. Because and his dad called him Big Nose, and they were growing up. They would make fun of him.
He started his surgeries though because he wanted to look like Diana Ross.
So
My sister said he ended up looking like a Japanese woman. Well, the thing is the fact of the matter is that he did have body just what's that one word, body just
dysphoria or something.
yeah, something like that. He had some kind of mental aspect to that, but Tatum O'Neal tried to get him to lose his virginity around 12 or 13, and he covered his face in her apartment, and he hid his face from her, and he wouldn't look up, and she gave up on him.
Well, I did a little studying before, not because of the movie, but just like a couple months ago, and looking at interviews from various people. One of them was his personal bodyguard who was a martial arts dude who traveled with him. So the guy was 19 when he started traveling with Michael, and he was with him for a good 15 years or so through the glory years, and then later on in his later years, Michael kind of retreated into his own little reclusive world. But he was saying one of his biggest jobs, because I've always been, I don't think he was molesting children, but he was blurring a line, having sleepovers, having them in bed, and, basically.
That's like what I think.
You're playing doctor or hide and go seek or whatever. It's just a bad thing that no adult should have other children in their bed with them. But he was saying his big job was sneaking girls into the compound to have sex with them, like women. Like Michael was really into women, and he was like he didn't have anything to gain by saying it. So I think that might have been true. But it would be very interesting because it opens up a sequel, like going from 88 on, and the question would be if the family is basically controlling it or having major, executive producer, you're going to have the final sign off. So what are they going to say about, the child scandals? What are they going to say about, imagine the executive producer, Prince, is basically someone who I seriously doubt that Michael is really his blood father. So is he going to, cop up to that? Or because he could easily prove that with the DNA, very easily. But I doubt that's a window they would want to walk through. But I always thought, you do the sequel going, 1988 till his death, which is somewhere in like the 2010 area, and then basically the cliffhanger would be that he goes to get his DNA results and he opens it up and boom, you flash the credits like, okay, you got to go see the next one to see who, if he's really Michael Jackson's, son by blood. So
they said that John F. Kennedy done the same thing. Chuck Berry, Sweet Caroline, boom, boom, boom. He done it. Nobody says anything. They just pick someone out of a crowd like Donald Trump, like Moore, Alabama, Moore out of Alabama, and then Michael Jackson, of course. People talk about what they want to talk about. Chuck Berry, hey, I've met him personally. Had cameras in his bar grill there in St. Charles on 5th Street called Southern Comfort, and the women had secret cameras in the women's bathroom.
Good Lord. The biggest surprise of the year was Cesar Chavez forcing himself on women, and now California canceled Cesar Chavez Day because of it. Because he even got a couple women pregnant, including one of his women who helped him with the marches.
And
James Brown
raped them. That's the problem, because we had to cancel Cesar Chavez banquet that we hosted.
James Brown sexually abused and physically abused Tammy Terrell, caught in her mother's bed with her when she was 16 years old. David Ruffin of The Temptation, I Wish It Would Rain. He physically abused Tammy Terrell. And it was said that Smokey Robinson may have also, but James Brown for sure, because it was witnessed by other people as he beat the hell out of her for not staying during the duration of one of his concerts.
Well, I didn't really want to
song, Sleeping Single in a Double Bed.
I didn't really want to get on this dark topic, but I think that Michael Jackson is so popular that I grew up in his generation. I think he's 2 years older than me. He was born August of 58. But the new generation, it's possible they might not have to know all this crap. Like they can just remember him in a rosy colored way.
Well, here's something that will turn you over in the grave, Jane. That is Trump and Michael Jackson were really good friends, and not that.
I actually knew that. I knew
Lisa Marie and Michael actually hooked up at Mar-a-Lago, and that's where they got really cozy. And Trump's always been standing up for Michael through the years, through all the controversy.
I knew that actually, and he also, when Michael Jackson used to stay in a hotel in Vegas for long periods of time, then Trump would go visit him up there, and also in Atlantic City. I guess he was in a hotel there for a while. But I knew that he liked him. Mm-hmm.
Well, you had Jewish film editors that exposing themselves to Shirley Black, better known as Shirley Temple, when she was 12 years old after her and her mother visited one of their offices. She was in one room and the mother was in another room with another editor, and he done the same thing.
It happened to Judy Garland too, and Judy Garland's own mother drugged her.
Why do you think I kept saying why I moved here to Reno? I was dealing with the Hollywood crowd. I know that stuff was going on, and it was disgusting, and I was starting my family, and I didn't want them to be susceptible or exposed to that. So and pretty much in Hollywood, that's how you live. You have to sneak your way to the top, and it doesn't matter who you are. Like I said, Walt Disney, those guys, they were the worst perverts for little boys around. And so you gotta understand that the career that these people are living in.
I would say it started around Judy Garland's era, but as time went on, people like Ashley Judd and Courtney Love stood up to those men.
Yeah, but it was way before Errol Flynn. It was when Hollywood first started. I
know. I'm just saying that later on, women stuck up for themselves because they felt like they wanted to and they needed to. So
the kids didn't have a voice like Hal Roach's Little Rascals.
So now I'm going to change the topic to two other controversial issues.
What the heck was it? Little Rascals got to do with it.
What was that, Suzette?
Hal Roach's Little Rascals. The Little Rascals show that they were molested and picked on and whatnot.
That's terrible.
They were all saying stuff.
Not all of them. The cast of MASH wouldn't have put up with that crap.
If you want to know the truth, all they have to do is ask Bubbles, interview Bubbles, and if you give that chimpanzee some bananas, he's gonna spill the beans. I'm telling you.
No, that's not.
Bubbles
That's not it. It was Mr. Ed and Francis the Talking Mule. I think both of them was sexually abused.
That's right.
I don't want to know anymore. I'll be back in my own little bubble.
No,
All right. In other news, Pete
Don't forget
Hegseth.
Lassie.
In other news, Pete Hegseth made a really dumb comment to a California congresswoman. She was questioning Trump's statements about wanting to annihilate Iran and to wipe them out of the face of existence. And guess what Pete Hegseth's answer was on C-SPAN? You're not talking about, why are you talking about Trump? Joe Biden couldn't even finish a sentence. You know, he started picking on Joe Biden in the middle of a congressional hearing. And that was like a long time ago, and it was a bad answer. And then the next thing that was said is that, when King Charles and his wife were outside trying to greet dignitaries, Trump came right in front of the line, cut them both off, and started shaking the men's hands and left Charles and Camilla in the dust. Anyone want to comment on that?
What's new? He does that all the time. Every time there's a conference or something, that he'll just jump in the middle of everybody and start shaking their hands, start talking. He does it all the time.
Well, the foreign female, the prime minister of Japan said she's never coming back. That female prime minister, she said she's never coming back to the White House.
Well, I'll give you a backstory that we're not talking too much about. In the at the White House dinner, or the big feast that they had for the king, they served a beehive style chocolate kind of a dessert thing with vanilla bean filling, but it was in the shape of a beehive apparently. And then they also had a beehive in the Rose Garden. And there's actually pictures of it. A bee actually, Trump stuck out his hand. I guess a bee actually landed on the palm of his hand. Did not sting him, but it was one of those coincidental, like, oh, look at this. And the king and the queen, Camille, they're looking at it like, oh, wow. But the point is, in British culture, the beehive represents the bee workers, and that the queen was like the queen bee was in charge and until she's dead, which she died, and that you have to announce the next queen or who's going to run the thing, or the bees they basically will go elsewhere. They have no direction. They have to have a queen. So kind of what some are saying symbolically, Trump was saying to them, the queen is dead. I'm in charge now. I run the whole thing. You don't run it anymore like you used to because the queen is dead. So I don't think Trump. I haven't researched it, but it's very ironic. Trump always does things for visuals, and he doesn't just do things randomly or accidentally. Like he sticks with the theme, and he likes to needle it.
Okay, well, today he made another dumb comment because Iran is going to be in the World Football Cup. And he goes, well, I don't know if they should be in there. Are they a good team? And supposedly they're an excellent team. And I don't think he's the one who's going to be making that decision.
No, but he just gave his opinion on it. And I can see that beehive. He said it was chocolate with vanilla bean sitting on a plate. So it looked like a steaming pile of,
poop.
He wanted the king to eat it.
Did the John, did the bee land on Charles' hand or Trump's hand?
It landed on Trump's, but it's interesting too. The meals that they had, they were all French themed, and I thought that's kind of odd. Like you're serving French. Like, why isn't he doing British or common English dishes? Because they have like shepherd's pie. I married into. My relatives, my in-laws, the mother-in-law was British, and we had a great time. We always would roast each other over British jokes, and I called her the Queen, and she'd go to England and come back with candies and different British things that were special. We go like to an English pub, occasionally, and you have British food. And so why would you serve that? But you serve the French food to the British king.
Because it sucks.
Well,
French food.
France used to be the diplomatic language up until like 1970. All foreign agents used to have to know and speak French up until the late 50s and mid 60s. And it changed around 1972, I would say.
And it's interesting because Trump had the reenactment, they had like British, kind of marching, not fight, but just the pageantry of that. And then American, basically revolutionary people. And so it's kind of interesting to see that contrast and to kind of, I wouldn't say mock, but because he was respectful of it. They had the whole they had like the trumpet guard or whatever. They did the whole formal ceremonial type of thing. But it was rather interesting to see the pageantry of it all. And then you have an attempted, a couple days before, you've got this guy who wanted to try and assassinate the president. So a lot of drama there.
Yeah, Charles made a few jokes about America, and he made it during one of his later speeches. But I was gonna bring something. There was something I thought about today, because in 1976, I was 16 years old for the bicentennial 200-year anniversary, and we had an oil crisis then under Jimmy Carter. And now it's 50 years later, and we're having another oil crisis under Trump. So that's a parallel from 50 years ago. I don't know.
It's interesting because Trump is trying to break not only Iran, they're doing now sanctions. They're going into the bank accounts of everyone invested in Iranian bank accounts and into the stock market and other investmts. And so they're freezing all those assets. So they're basically going to try, rather than through military, just financially choke them. Of course, the drama is that as long as the Strait of Hormuz is not open, the stock market, it's doing okay, but the gas prices is suffering. So people are wondering how long we can hang out. Iran's card is it's just pray that everything tanks and Trump will have to give in because he doesn't want to lose the midterms, in which he would spend the next 2 years in impeachment proceedings, and having a whole Democratic control type of a House or Congress, which would be just a nightmare for him. So it's kind of this game, like how many months he's got, what 6 or 7 months to go. So at what point do you move forward and withdraw, or do you try to strangle out this regime and take total control? He's trying to get he's trying to break up OPEC. So the Arabs broke out of OPEC, and if they all start to secede from that totally changes the whole financial picture. I'm surprised all these other countries don't just say, let's go in there and let's straighten things out, or fund the people to overthrow the Iranian government, because they're the ones who need the oil to flow. The United States doesn't really need it.
According
the
to
Iranian government,
go ahead.
the Iranian regime. You got a bunch of fanatics that's running the country, not people. Because the people, they have no ability to fight. They gave up their arms. They basically toothless tigers. And gasoline prices are high because you got greed, and you got those that control or have some influence on it. They're gouging. We don't depend on that part of the world. We have self-dependence on not only oil, but we also have self-dependence on liquefied natural gas.
I do think, though, that the smoothness of the world economy is dependent on the Strait of Hormuz being open.
Well, I can agree with you, but why come the world economy that depends on that why aren't they putting policing actions on the Strait of Hormuz, which is a national waterway? It's not owned by Iran. It's national waterway.
Well, Iran has strategic parts in some of the capes over there, and in some of the areas of that large body of water. They have certain controls, and they've had that for over the last 50 years. So somebody's phone is cracking up a lot. I was gonna make another point, but I forgot. I can't remember what it was.
My mic has been on mute, so I don't know. Maybe somebody else.
Don, are you in a public space? Or John?
No, I'm in my own room. In fact, I'll put it on mute. Let's see if it affects anything or not.
Okay, you don't have to put it on mute. Just take it off speaker. So another topic I thought that we could explore, but Megyn Kelly said that Trump only has a 12% approval rating as far as the economy and only a 23% mass public approval rating, and she thinks that he's toast. I would like to hear from the conservative side on that one.
Well, Megyn is kind of gone with the flow of the wind of public opinion. Same thing with Tucker Carlson and a couple others. They're basically just going with the flow. They're not standing up to it. I mean, I think we've heard this talk for the last 8 years or 12 years, right? Since 2016, Trump can't win. Trump's going down. They got him this time. He's surrounded. The walls are closing in. I looked up Google and Apple. All their news reports in the last 2 months, 97% of their news reporting is all negative news. They don't have any. There's no conservative voices in entertainment. Like talking. Carl's. You're talking. Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, The View. There's nothing, and this will be an interesting thing with the FCC if they're going to start pulling some license. Because by that I mean, show me a conservative mainstream comedy show, talk show, anything. The only thing you can get is if you go to Fox, but that's not the ABC, NBC, CBS, or any of that. CNN again, MSNBC. I
think it's because that they don't have a star on the conservative side that has a natural appeal. Like, people do not like Erica Kirk. They don't like, except for that Jordan Peterson in Canada, there's not a lot of likable conservative headliners.
Well, except Fox, like with Gutfeld and like Jesse Waters. I mean, these are Fox beats all of them in ratings, so it's not a ratings issue. The point is, there's an intentional bias. Like you could have The View and then have a conservative show after that. You can have a comedian on there. There's plenty of conservative people you could put on there and do a show, or have equal time. And all I'm saying is it's, if someone 97% of the time is promoting a certain agenda, the public's going to believe.
Well,
that.
Even some of the.
I was just going to ask you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, there's 97% negative being put out, but what percentage of the American people are taking that in? Last that I heard, not very many. In fact, Kimmel almost lost his job just because they were losing viewers. And so, without people watching, the 97% output doesn't really matter because nobody's really listening.
But it does among the kids because they're very influenced. Like example, the Republican popularity is probably about 30%, give or take. Trump is on the economy, the war, and all that stuff is like 30 to 40%. That's where it's been lately. But then you ask, how does the public feel about the Democrats? 18%. Well, wait a second. If it's 18% for Democrats and their policies, then you should have at least 50-50. You should have even 60-40. If Trump won the popular election, then you should have even a majority of positive news reports or balanced reporting. Because if you listen to Fox, you go, Trump's in control. It just waited out the big plan. We got rid of the big bad boogeyman. Who's gonna blow up the world and who threatens women's rights. I mean, they should be adamant about how terrible the Iranian regime is to women. And Muslim countries, 50 out of the 54, they're terribly oppressive. I mean, wickedly oppressive.
Okay, one thing
why aren't they speaking out against what their view on trans, on gay, on women's rights? It's wicked. You don't hear a thing about that. And yet Trump is, imagine this. They said no kings. We just had a king from England come over. No one said anything against him, but Donald Trump is the dictator?
Well, they have a parliamentary monarchy in England. The king doesn't have that much power, and he takes his advice from the prime minister. Now, I just want to bring up one example of negative media. All right, for example, Prince Harry and his wife Meghan went to Australia. Based on the pictures and some of the PR stuff they did, they seem to be very well liked. But if you go through Facebook scrolling or Instagram strolling, there's a lot of negativity about Meghan Markle still. It's been going on for over 5 years, and it's kind of disgusting. And if you were just the average person that didn't know much, you would think Meghan Markle's the most disliked person ever. But I'm tired of people feeding that fire. And it's more of a specific example of misrepresentation because in certain parts of the world, Prince Harry and Meghan are still liked.
Well, it's because her mom is black, and because they stepped against the establishment. She is a spoiled princess in her behaviors, but she bucked Buckingham Palace. But I wonder how the panel feels about Prince William saying that we can learn a lot from Islam, or from Muslims.
Well, even the Pope is promoting a lot of interfaith discussion. And in Africa, he went to the site of some Christian monuments, but he also went to a Muslim mosque to talk to interdenominational leaders.
Well, my thing is this. Black America, those pundits whose numbers are diminishing and trying desperately to have a separate black nation in the United States, they said Meghan was black. Okay. Well, now, this guy who supposedly was trying to get into the ballroom function and do harm to Trump, he's darker than Meghan, and they don't say he's black. I mean, what is it?
He looks mixed.
Skin color than Meghan. But see, we all throughout our lives, my life, Don knows the same thing. Blacks was telling that there is no black mass killers. Like we had the one there in Maryland that killed the 8 kids. Oh, that's only whites that do that stuff. Now all the chickens are starting to come home to the party, and things are changing, and they know not where to say.
I did hear about that black guy in Maryland who killed 6 or 7 kids but left the wife alive. I'm sure, it doesn't matter what race you are, there's killers on every side of the fence, in my opinion. I mean, there's people who have homicidal tendencies. It doesn't matter the skin color.
Well, you're probably right. You're absolutely right. Intelligence has no respect for skin color. But you got those that push the news out there. There's those that put the stories out. Those that want to write the books. You got those that want to make the movies. And you got those that want to control the narrative and say that white supremacy, the Christian leftists, nationalists, they and white men are the problem. It's just not true. I just
want to tie in one more question. I was listening to a comedian, and he was talking about, I think he was talking at a conference, And so I don't know if he was a politician or a comedian, but he said he made a joke about, well, black people do have some power. Look at how Megan, a black woman, stole the king away from, I mean, the prince away from the family. So I mean, I think what the point was, even though it was a joke, is that race can divide people even in places where it's not intended to. Because people make a much. One time you said, Bianchi, when we were talking about another similar topic, you said Meghan Markle, she's not black, but then you were talking about another mixed woman who looked more white than black, but I can't remember who it was now. So sometimes people are half black, but they just don't look like it. That's just the way it is.
Well, the question is, what is black? Eskimos got darker skin color than Meghan Markle. They got darker skin just as well as dark as Wesley Snipes. They're not considered black. In the whole country of Nigeria, those people there, which make up about a fifth of the world population, they don't consider themselves as black.
I don't think Meghan Markle looks one bit black, except for like in her pictures from age 7 to 14 when her hair was naturally curly. Then she does look kind of mixed, but nowadays she doesn't even look mixed. And neither do
Kamala Harris, in a book that she wrote about her daughter, she said, "My daughters, her daughters wasn't black, but she said she knew they would be considered as black. Her daughter's citizenship is Indian."
Well, Kamala was half Indian.
She's fully Indian. Wasn't her father Indian too?
No, she had a black dad from Jamaica and a white mom from somewhere in India, or maybe it was Bangladesh. I can't remember.
Her dad, Jamaica, is a British subject.
Well, Don, it's your turn to jump in on this conversation.
What about Bo Derek? Bo Derek looked like she was black, but she was white. Her tan was dark.
Not only Bo Derek, but what about Derek Jeter?
Yeah. Yep. There's another one.
Yeah, he didn't. Derek Jeter doesn't really look black either. Well, I guess we have to give Meghan Markle a DNA test.
Oh, wow. Well, a DNA test is going to say they're human. What are you going to tie her into?
She's part Dutch. Her dad was from the Netherlands or somewhere like that. And her mom is
definitely sick and tired of this stuff. You know I'm not black, right?
John,
I'm not black. You know why?
Because
you're vote for Joe
Biden. Why aren't you black? I missed the joke.
Because he didn't vote for Joe
Oh,
Biden.
that's funny. I heard something funny today on one of those C-SPAN channels. They said that the retirement, like the art people, have a bigger constituency of power in Washington than the defense industry and the military people who build like military weapons. Do you guys believe that the senior citizens have more clout and more power and influence than the military community?
Well, I got to be more specific than just senior citizens.
Well, they said it was the ARP people, AARP. I don't believe that crap.
But they're more likely to vote because that's all they got their time to do. Younger people are running around doing stuff and they forget about it, or they're a little too preoccupied. Like women, they got to pick up their kids after for daycare. So you imagine you pick up your kid. Do you want to go out and vote? When are you going to do it? On the weekend, you got to take your kids to things. Whereas an old person, they just watch the news all day and they go, I want to make sure no one touches my Social Security. And they'll vote. And a lot of them have, old ties to the past, the World War II, and the Vietnam War and Korean War, they have a little different perspective. Although the boomer generation is a bit liberal, but among college kids, it's about 50-50 or more. Actually, a majority of them think that white supremacy is valid, and that there's misogyny, and that Islam is a good thing, and socialism is great. They favor that a lot. The majority, I think, is like 2/3. So we have a different generation. They have no idea what communism really is, or what socialism is, or how it equates. It's a different generation, and one that will probably have to experience some very crazy things happening to them to change.
John F. Kennedy.
Iran welcomed the Ayatollah. They were like, "Oh, he's going to set us free, and he's for the people." And the Ayatollah said, "Listen, I'm going to represent the people, and they're going to have lots of rights." And then when he took control, he shut that all down. And the women, it's terrible. Like you shut up, you cover up, you have sex, as the husband allows. And you don't do that, he'll beat the crap out of you. You can't go to court about it, and they determine who you're going to marry and what you're going to say and do, and that's it. And I don't know how anyone can identify with that system. It's slavery for women and the children too.
I was going to say that I believe King Charles and his wife met Mom Donnie, and also Jack Schlossberg, JFK's grandson is he's pro-ecumenical when it comes to Muslims and supporting their cause.
Well, here's the thing about that. If the Muslims, people that follow that faith, to either extreme, to the left or right, if that's what they want, leave them alone. But see, where the problem comes in is like we heard the verbiage coming out of, and the Somali mayor said this is going to be the things to come. My election and Somalia's basic political control in that town. They're trying to spread it here. They would all love to take over the United States with its economic might, its consumer base that they don't have in their country, because that process of Islam and the way they practice it just don't work when it comes to prosperity. And then you have a few that goes back in the legends of time that's been disputing against another few for control. That's what they want. They want to be a proxy for the United States or other nations that got money so they can prop themselves up. The hell with the people. They want to prop themselves up in their ideology. They've been that way forever.
Yeah, just because someone's a certain religion, it's a twofold thing. Not everybody who is a certain religion has a religious agenda. They could just be like other people and be opportunistic and looking go ahead, Suzette. I'm just saying it doesn't mean that not everybody who is a Muslim wants to convert everybody, and not everyone who likes the Pope is a Catholic. Go ahead, Suzette.
Well, having religious beliefs and then having a community of people that live their religion is a different thing. The Muslims live their religion, Islam. They live their religion, and their religion are their laws, versus Christians or whoever else is out there. And when you have that type of ideology and belief system that is your life, it wants to take over because it believes that everything else and everybody else is against or opposed to basically infidels, because you are not a follower, you do not believe the same things that they do. And with that are laws that they want to enforce because you don't believe. So you either believe or you don't exist. Other religions are not life. They do not live their religion, and their religion doesn't call for those extremes that I'm aware of. But the Islamic religion does. and so that they're apples and oranges when you say religious beliefs of different religions. Theirs is completely over. It's everything. It's the
I'll
moon,
give
it's
I'll
the
give you an
stars, it's
I can tell you a parallel idea for that. I was in the Catholic class for 9 months in this past year, and I decided not to join. But two big premises of becoming a Catholic. Well, a lot of people say that Catholic thinks they're right about everything, and partially that's true because they believe that you have to go through all these hoops to become a Catholic. You have to go to 9 months of classes. And then you have to go through this special thing to get communion. And they believe that the communion is the consecrated host of Jesus's body. It's the real blood. No matter what the wafer looks like, if you got it at Walmart or Nabisco, it's going to turn into his blood and body. So, and then the other thing that the Catholic Church keeps pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing is the thing about abortion and every single angle about that. And then, like, what I'm trying to say is that they want to accept Protestants as fellow Christians, but they just can't do it. There's too many specific differences that they just won't fully accept the Protestant religion as being acceptable.
Well,
they don't kill you for it.
there's a difference because I think what you're comparing is Muslims in Western culture, like in a society such as America or the UK or Sweden or somewhere. That's far different than the Muslim or Islam in a Islamic state, which is about 54 countries of the world. I would beg people, all of us, just take a couple hours one time in this month and watch the movie Not Without My Daughter by Sally Field, as I think is in 88 or so, right around that time period. That movie came out, and it depicts an American woman married to living in Michigan, and basically her husband is a Muslim, very tolerant, very loving, very kind.
I saw the movie.
Father has health issues back in Tehran. He says, let's just go there for 2 weeks, just go visit him. I got to do this. Family hasn't seen me, for 10 years. We got a couple kids, we have a daughter. Let's go. And she's like, it's the government is so unstable. It's dangerous. And he swore on the Quran. He says, I swear to you, nothing will happen to you. Everything will be fine. And when he gets over there, he flips. So he loses his job in America. They send him a note like, you've lost your job because, basically, he was getting mocked for being. They would be subliminal with their prejudice, their bias for him. But the point is, he said, "I'm not going back. We're staying here." And she couldn't go. She couldn't leave. She couldn't take her daughter, and she was a hostage. And basically said, "I forbid it." And we're now. This is our. Our daughter will be raised this way. You will be raised this way. She couldn't make phone calls. She couldn't escape out of there because he took her passport, took her phone, everything. And it was a nightmare. And the point of what I'm saying, that's how life is right now in those countries. If like anyone who defends Islam, that's fine. As a woman, go over there, marry an Islamic man here, go over to any of those countries and watch trying to leave. If your husband says, shut up, he beat the crap out of her, take her phone, the whole family, and the only way to get out was to escape and leave her daughter behind, or get a divorce and then try to escape through, Pakistan and going through the mountains, going through these guard checkpoints, and it's the way it is. So again, we have a misreality when someone in America says, "Oh, Islam is very peaceful." It's like, go to those other countries right now, today, and try to live as a American woman, embracing freedom of speech, sexual rights. Doesn't matter if it's lesbian or just living together with someone or driving in a car with a person that's not your husband. You will find.
We didn't have cell phones back in the 80s.
But she couldn't use I would say the house line. She couldn't call out. So I'm sorry, I misrepresented that. But yeah,
that's okay.
there was one phone in the house, and she had to use it. She was forbidden to leave her room. And took the daughter, gave it with the relatives. It's like, you don't see your daughter, until blah, blah, blah happens. And it was just a nightmare. It's a true story. And she escaped with her daughter. And, but that's the nightmare that women who go back there deal with. The consulates deal with this all the time. It's like, you have no rights. You married your husband. He's in control of everything.
One thing about our show, though, is
It's a true story. I remember.
we always end up on the same topics. John talking about Islam, Bianchi talking about his black estrangement, Jane talking about the Pope school. Like,
we can make it lighthearted. Let's talk about Michael Jackson.
well, can't we come to some kind of consensus?
Jermaine became a Muslim, and he thought Michael was going to convert.
Is that why he named his kid Jafar?
Yes. No. Don't stop till you get enough.
Instead of Babar the elephant? Okay, all I have to say is that
Go ahead.
there was a cartoon animal named Babar the elephant.
Yeah.
I would never name my kid Jafar, even if I was a devout Muslim.
Oh, wow.
How about Ahmed or Muhammad? Doesn't like the popular.
I dated a Muslim. His name was
Go
Jehun
ahead.
Nasimi.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say Muhammad.
No, but he prayed after we fooled around.
Oh, that's interesting.
Needless to say, I was 51 and he was 28.
I would be praying. Oh, thank you.
He was westernized. And then a famous comedian financed his movie, and he made a blockbuster movie called Unfallen, where he plays twin brothers, and one becomes a terrorist, and one is an American soldier or something like that. And the movie's called Unfallen. And Wade had
Sundance films. Or something?
it was released on Hollywood Boulevard, and my friend Wade, that you guys all know, Wade and I know him. I mean, Wade got to meet him, and Wade helped film one of his audition tapes.
Oh, good.
So I did invite Wade tonight, but I don't think he could make it. But Wade is picking me up at the airport in Phoenix May 9th to go see my cookie.
Oh, wow.
And John was supposed to go, but he'd rather give money to the orphans than come to Phoenix.
Yeah. I said I could go for like a couple of days, but I have to get back for my babies. I can't stay like a week over there.
And Joan paid $681 for me to stay at a furnished apartment a block from Lauren's house.
Wow.
Yeah, that's nice. Joan?
Yeah, she did. My twin sister.
Mm-hmm.
I told her it could be my birthday present.
And there you go.
Does Lolo know you're going over there?
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
He does too, Don. And don't say anything mean.
Like, do you have your ninja outfit? Like, you're gonna, sneak over the fence and go through his window in the middle of the night?
No, I'm not Lauren's the one who gave me 5 hotels. He gave me the link to 5 hotels.
And you're gonna deprogram him, like have him abducted in the middle of the night?
No, I would like to live there, and I know Don's gonna poo-poo that.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna find a rich military retiree to finance me.
Just make sure he's retired, not retarded.
John went to Philippines to see Slick, but he won't go.
You said military man, so it's both.
John went to the Philippines to see Slick, but he won't go one state over to see Janessa.
I know. Well, it's they're both as hot as hell, both of those places. But over in the Philippines, I could marry a 20-year-old and support her with my retirement money.
Yee, how exciting!
Oh, hey guys, I gotta go.
Oh,
But,
wait,
I
Suzette,
say goodbye to everyone.
do you want to make any last jokes?
No, that was my last one. The retired versus retarded.
Okay, we're glad that you joined us, and I hope you feel okay.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. God bless.
Maybe
Have
I'll
a good
see you
night.
at Christmas, okay?
God bless you.
Okay.
God bless you. Bye, Suzette.
Bye bye.
We love you.
Love you. Bye. Bianchi, are you still on the air?
There somewhere.
Yes, I'm here.
Are you gonna bankroll me?
No.
You're on my list of places to visit. But right now, I did resign from Walmart. My last day is May 20th.
No way.
I went part-time to full-time at another group home.
Oh wow.
There's certain problems at Walmart that I don't want to go into publicly. But it wasn't a career move, let's put it that way.
You don't want to work for those white colonizer family that owns it?
They can't find anybody to work after 8 o'clock at night, and I'm there by myself till 10 every night, and I'm sick of it.
The Waltons were not colonizers.
Sam Walton worked his ass off
You're damn right he did.
to make that
Very.
I
Do they
just
have any robots there? Like, are the robots taking over Walmart?
No.
yet?
they have self-checkout.
They have inventory robots.
No,
Wow.
not at my store.
They've been experimenting with them.
Oh, really? Not at
Oh,
the
yes.
not at the Hermantown, Minnesota store. I don't dislike the job. I like most of the people I work with. It's just hard. We're down to a skeleton crew every night, and there's just people don't want to work there past 5 or 6 at night.
I have a friend that's in San Jose who was flying out of town, and there were no human staff there. There's robots taking over everything. And it's interesting because he walked up to it, was asking information, and he had to repeat it 2 or 3 times because the robot couldn't understand him, and he was talking very clearly. And it would give these answers that were kind of general, like instead of saying, go down to, 20 feet, turn right, it'd be like, you must proceed to the, gate 518, and giving these kind of like robot answers. So I think they still have to tweak it a bit. But the point is, like, a normal human being would go, they could even like step out outside of the desk and say, like, take you by the hand or show you what to do. I mean, I remember one time when I was on the Philippine trip, we were flying back and we had to land at Taipei, and the weather was so bad, monsoon weather, they had to take us to another airport on the other side of the island and bus us up to the where we're going to fly out. And literally, there's a certain point where we were trying to get from point A to point B, and I followed the instructions, and it was putting me in a circle. And finally, they had a human. They said, "Let me take you by the, let me lead you there." And they walked me through. I couldn't have done that with a robot. It wouldn't have happened.
I do have one. I forgot about one thing. Today I had to drop off a letter at Walmart, and I saw a robot pushing the carts back. It was not in the shape of a human, though. It was a red device that led all the carts right back into the place where people pick them up.
kind of like one of those carpet vacuum cleaner kind of. Like
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. It's
It
not
was
a- not a-
rectangular, and it was it must have had an engine of some it must have had an engine of some sort because it automatically guided the carts right back to where they were supposed to go.
Oh, Melania, did a video, and she's talking about, and you know, she speaks a lot of languages, but her English to me, it's at times almost a little bit comical because you know they say the same words she does, but it has this intonation of the way she talks. You know, it's very, you know, like she can't just say, "Hi, my name is Melania." My name is Melania. It's kind of like Latka or something like that. And I guess just growing up, she's used to pronouncing certain words in a certain way. But she was talking about how right now the teacher will be the robot, and she's saying, you know, the robot will be like Plato, like having Plato in the school teaching your student. And I'm thinking, yeah, Plato's going to be teaching the kids. What are the humans going to be doing? Oh, by the way, side Melania story. When she married Donald Trump, Michael Jackson, they were hanging out at a hotel, and Donald was going to meet them. And Michael would joke to her, like, what if we start making out and kissing when he shows up? And, you know, like, that would really just, you know, that would, like, totally, because Michael's a prankster. And Melania and them laughed. They had a good laugh. And they said, I don't think we're going to do that. But that's your Melania Michael Jackson.
Well, the thing is I see a lot of foreigners at Walmart. A lot of them do have a hard time pronouncing English words.
Yes.
So, you guys, we've been on the air 1 hour and 11 minutes, not counting the 20 minutes that the first streaming didn't work. So I'm gonna call it a night because I want to go to bed.
Are you gonna go see the Michael Jackson movie, Jane?
No, but I was gonna ask you guys, did Bianchi or John see the Melania movie?
No, I didn't, and I would be afraid if I was a woman to kiss Michael Jackson for fear of being lacerated in the face with his nose.
I would have kissed him when he did the Off the Wall era, before he got the surgery. I would have kissed him when he was in his early 20s.
Yeah, I think Melania. I wouldn't spend the money for the movie, but I will recommend the Michael Jackson movie if you enjoy the '80s and in the music of that time, especially specifically his music. It's a really fun movie. Don, are you ever going to see it? Would you ever see it streaming or not at all? I think we lost him.
Yeah. Don doesn't go to movies. Pat's bringing him too many places all the time.
Brings back too many memories of he was off the wall during that time.
She brings Don to sporting events. They have NAACP twice a week. They're on the go every minute.
Yeah, back in those days, I think Don was hanging out with Bubbles, to tell you the truth.
I know a lot about Don that I can't see on the air. All right, you guys, have a good night, y'alls.
All right, Jane.
If you want to be doing something hard to get over, get up to get under. Okay, good night, y'all. Good night, y'all.
Are you gonna video one of your dances to that?
I have I sing Michael Jackson. I have a couple of his songs on my YouTube channel. You Are Not Alone is one of them.
Wow.
Another crazy night. I'm not gonna sing it now. Good night.
Good night, Jane.
Boy.
Boy.
That ends the show for tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the uplifting conversation, not too much fighting tonight. I think some people's religious views are rather narrow, and the only person responsible for our religious direction and salvation is ourselves. God will instruct us accordingly. Good night.